Hello and welcome to Starfire Stadium. Seattle Sounders 2 hosting the Tulsa Roughnecks tonight. USL soccer action. Hello everybody, I'm Aaron Heinsohn, Wade Weber alongside. Happy Mother's Day to all the mothers who are watching. The first 100 mothers here get a free S2 t-shirt. Did you pick one up, Wade?
I did not pick one up for my mother, Aaron, but hi, Mom, and happy Mother's Day.
Happy Mother's Day to all the mothers out there. Sounders 2 taking on Tulsa Roughnecks tonight. Roughnecks are in town after a West Coast swing through Vancouver. Game they lost 3-2, but they are still searching for their second win, as are the Sounders 2 tonight. They brought some offensive players, though, in attack. Olex Anderson is in the starting lineup. Wade, we know he's a big weapon, a lot of speed. What does he bring?
Sounders 2 are going to need him to provide more than just that pace. Victor Mansouri leads the team with 2 goals, and Olex Anderson would be a welcome addition to the score sheet. He is very fast. He likes to play on the left and cut in onto his right. But there's also assists, I think, in his repertoire. So getting him in positions where he can exploit outside backs and get past them is going to be key for Sounders 2. Again, Olex has got all the tools, and now it's about, as a pro, applying it in every game, getting results.
Another player that's got a lot of interest surrounding him is the man Jordan Schweitzer, an academy player here, played at the University of Denver, came back, has joined S2. What has he brought? He was injured in the first part of the season. Now we're starting to see what he brings to the team.
He's a calm midfielder, a pro, really, despite the fact he's only played a couple of games as a pro. He's got a good approach, good work ethic, really goes about the task of being a midfielder in a professional manner, which means always focused, always disciplined, organizing those around him. First touch is good, likes to get on the ball and circulate possession. So Sounders 2 will look to him and Mark Ojong this evening to dictate tempo and rhythm of passing.
Well, the opponents for Sounders 2 tonight, Tulsa Roughnecks coming in with a forward who's very, very familiar to Seattle fans, Sammy Ochoa, former forward with Seattle Sounders. He scored 2 goals against Vancouver Whitecaps. He certainly will be a danger tonight.
Sounders fans would remember him from appearances primarily in the Open Cup and in CONCACAF competition, but Sammy Ochoa brings the capacity to score with this Tulsa team. He's leading them in goals. He's not a pacey player, but good first touch, reasonably good in the air, strong, and has a nose to finish, knows when and where to run. And with this Tulsa team, they're a little more direct than your typical 2016 professional soccer team. And Sammy's going to benefit from maybe second balls and winning those sorts of things. So he's going to have to be marshaled well this evening.
I want to talk a little bit about playing direct tonight. We saw Oklahoma City in the last game. Sounders 2 were in control with a 1-0 lead. A couple substitutions changed that. The game became very direct. S2 struggled just a little bit to keep the pace of the game, to keep control of things. And at the very last second, Oklahoma City got a goal. How can they deal with that tonight? Does Ezra Hendrickson have a new plan?
Well, it's not unusual for a team to face that sort of pressure and to give in to the temptation just to whack balls out and clear their lines. What a team really needs to do is have the confidence and courage to bring a ball down, play it out when under pressure, play between the lines, and do what they do best, which is use their midfield to be a conduit to get the ball into more advanced areas, not simply bypass the midfield, which is what many teams would try and do. This Tulsa group will be a little bit more direct, just as OKC were last week.
And certainly both these sides looking for a victory. Seattle Sounders 2, 1 victory, although they've had 4 games undefeated so far with several draws and the win a few weeks ago. And Tulsa Roughnecks have not won a game since their home opener against Rio Grande Valley, I should say. They are also looking to cap on something. They go down next week. They will face Swope Park Rangers. And Sounders 2 will head on the road against Sacramento Republic. So this is a big game for them tonight. How important is this before they head out on the road trip?
3 points at home is a must against a team that's behind you in the table. When you lose your first 3 games of the season, as Sounders FC2 did, you dig yourself a hole that is not in any way impossible to get out of, but it does take time. 4 games without a loss is a great start, but starting to turn a couple of those draws into wins, as they nearly did last week, is going to be key to clawing their way up the table. Listen, if you look at the USL standings for the Western Conference, Sounders 2 are not far from 4th or 5th place, but it's going to have to start with 3 points this evening.
Well, it's certainly a big evening tonight for Sounders 2. Another interesting format, Jordy Dellum, the Martinique man, starting in the midfield. He will join Schweitzer and Ojong. What can we expect from Jordy Dillon?
Well, I'll be curious to see what he can add. His profile suggests that he's a holding midfielder. I spoke to Junior Gonzalez, Sounders 2 assistant, about him, and that was what he said. He said he's good on the ball. He doesn't like to complicate things. He wants to be a passer first, a dribbler second. And Sounders 2, in my opinion, have three versatile but for the most part stay-at-home midfielders in that little triangle in the middle of the park, and that will allow Mansoray up front, Olex Anderson, Myron Samuel. They'll have the freedom then to be creative. They won't have the defensive burden put on their shoulders to always track back, because you have three very disciplined guys in the middle of the field.
And Emerald City supporters getting the atmosphere underway here at Starfire Sports Complex. Seattle Sounders 2. Very impressive national anthem there from a young 11-year-old as we're about to get underway here. Sounders 2, Tulsa Roughnecks. Let's go through some lineups here. Probably start with Seattle Sounders 2. There they are, 4 changes from the last game Sounders 2 had against the Energy last week. Jordy Dillon is on for Craven. Brandon John will slide onto right back as O'Neal Fisher picked up 2 yellow cards in the last game and is out with suspension. Dylan Remick, as we mentioned, is on the left side for Nuhu Tolo. And Olex Anderson, of course, on for Jones, which leaves Victor Mansoray up top, Myron Samuel on the right. As I mentioned, Dylan before, Marco Zhang, Jordan Schweitzer in the midfield, and Tony Alfaro, Brandon John making that center back combination, Michael Nelson on the right, and Tyler Miller in goal for Sounders 2. And on the other side for the Tulsa Roughnecks, almost just one change for them. Carlos Martinez is out in the midfield, and that brings on the former Pakistani international Kaleem in on the right-hand side. He is joined by Sammy Ochoa up top, Kyle McLeod on the left. In the attack, Adriano Pellegrino in the midfield, along with Guy Belobi and Mahebo Henry, 2 Ivory Coast players. Gary Senarazo at left back, Anthony Peters and Matthew Watley center back, David Abador right back, and the former Seattle University goalkeeper Jake Feener is in goal tonight for Tulsa. Referees tonight, Mr. Chipola getting things started for us. It's his second game. Chipolo Street, Joshua Hames, and Bryden Eakins, our assistants, and our 4th official is Seth Martin. It's Chipolo Street's second S2 game of the season so far.
Weather conditions really are perfect. It's just cool enough. Players can run all night in this kind of weather. It's been unseasonably warm here, Aaron. We've had topping 80 degrees. It's only May. I can't predict what summer will be like when we're dealing with this now. But for Sounders 2, it's critical. The first 10, 15 minutes, there's a statement of intent. How are they going to set up? How are they going to play? Not waiting to grow into the game, but imposing their will upon this Tulsa team who, to be honest, are on a bit of a skid and desperate for something on this road trip.
If you take a look at the standings, Tulsa sitting in 15th, Sounders 2 just in front of them at 14th, but the way they've been playing the last 4 games doesn't seem to correlate, I would say, with their standings. They've been a little bit unlucky. We talked about the Oklahoma City game last week. A last-second goal for the Energy was the equalizer. A little bit of a breeze tonight. Take a look coming in from the west, sweeping across the field. So Tulsa will have that breeze at their back at the start of this first half. Tyler Miller very much aware of that. Scarves up here. Starfire Sports Stadium just before the kickoff. Victor Mansoray hoping to add to his tally. Ochoa, 2 goals against Vancouver on May 4th. And we are underway here. Marco Zhang. Get things all the way started. Out to Dylan Remick. There is Nelson. First time we've seen him at right back. What do you think, Wade? He's played in center back the first few games we've seen him.
Yeah, he's a composed central defender, and they're two. They're both in the back four, but they're different positions. The requirements are quite different. Be curious to see if Coach Ezra Hendrickson maybe has given his outside backs less license to get forward against what will be a very direct team. I think they're going to need to make sure that they're composed and disciplined here in the early stages.
It's a good ball from Remick over the top, looking for Olix, but cleared away by Tulsa. I see Jordan Schweitzer in there, clapping his hands, likes the positivity, wearing the captain's armband tonight as he was against Oklahoma City last week. Sammy Ochoa, the captain for Tulsa, number 9 up top. Tulsa will certainly be aware of the speed that Anderson brings to the game.
Tulsa clearly setting up with 2 forwards, 2 that press high. The high pressure style, Sounders too are going to need to be confident, courageous enough to play out of it, which they're doing well at the moment.
Well, we've seen the past couple games. So we see that ball over the top by Nelson, running onto it is Dylan. Not going to get to it. It's picked up by Feener. And certainly Sounders too. The last couple of games we've seen the center back spread wide as you'd think on a 4-3-3. And a couple of those passes going into the midfield being picked off and been costly for S2. I'll certainly hope to clean up those mistakes. Good tackle there by David Abidor. Spent some time playing in Sweden. First, Schweitzer. There's Anderson on the turn, and this time he's clipped. That is the speed and quickness of Olex Anderson.
It's been evident early. David Abidor has not the pace to keep up with Olex Anderson, so he's going to need to lunge and commit to tackles before Anderson can build up a head of steam, and that's going to be a problem for him over the course of a game if he's going to have that approach to defending.
Myron Samuel, the one and only player standing over the ball for S2. 2 men on the wall for Tulsa. Everyone else at the top of the box. Samuel swings it in. Not the best ball in, though. It's cleared away easily by Ochoa and out of bounds. Be a throw in for S2. Nelson. Pass is cut out. He gets it back. Marco Zhang. Remick. Olex Anderson on the turn. Abidor this time is ready for it. Clears it away. Good early pressure, though, from S2.
It's the 3rd time our man David Abidor has gone to ground. Again, that is not the way to survive. We're 3.5 minutes into the match, and that sort of desperation is going to be a problem.
Throw in from Remick. Abidor gets his head to it. Now it's nodded away by McLeod. Again, Tulsa just trying to clear. Still bouncing around. Tulsa still unable to clear it. Now it's finally settled down. Long ball over the top, and Miller will pick it up. Nelson to Samuel. Pressure all over him. It's going to go out of bounds. Throwing for Tulsa. There's Mansoray fighting for it. Long high ball. No call. No No real possession from anyone right now. Ball just kind of bouncing around everywhere. Miller can't clear it. Ochoa. Ojong. Ball out of bounds. Throw in S2. A lot of half clearances, half chances there for the moment. Here's Mansoret. Ojong will put it on the ground, and Tony Alfaro trying to find Anderson, but it's again cleared away. Kaleem will track it. Miller will pick it up. Now to Alfaro.
Been a few times now Victor Mansoret has gotten into some tussles with Anthony Peters, big central defender for Tulsa. He's kept his head, though.
Good ball by Dellum, looking for Samuel on the right, but just a little bit beyond the line. Seems as though we're in for a hard-fought, maybe a bit of a scrappy game here, Wade.
Certainly, and that was the briefing on Tulsa. Was they've not come to play a style that one will want to put in the time capsule and revisit in 20 years, but they're out to get 3 points. It's a league game, and they're in need of points.
Samuel over the top for Mansoret. Getting there first, though, is big number 6.
I've liked Victor's approach so far. Again, he's had some physical challenges. Twice he's looked at the official for fouls to be called, but he's remaining positive and up and chasing down those balls.
Samuel to take the corner here for S2. Whips it in. About waist height. It's going to go out off Tony Alfaro for a goal kick.
The referee deferred to his assistant, and that originally called a corner kick. The assistant better placed to view that correctly. I think that might have been the right call.
There's Wiener. Long high kick. Ojong wins the header well. Samuel trying to pick it up. Ball's blocked off by Watley. Now it's all the way to Dylan Remick. Here's Anderson. Alex Anderson turns, using his pace. It's cut out, though. It's a good tackle from number 23, Pellegrino. Now Sammy Ochoa just getting in behind. Sammy Ochoa with the opportunity. There it is for the far post. And he's done it. Former Seattle Sounder, Sammy Ochoa. Got a goal here last year for the Tulsa Roughnecks. And in the 8th minute, puts Tulsa up 1-0 on S2, just like that, on the counterattack.
Well, it was a searching ball that Brandon John misread the bounce. There's good spin on the ball, and on this turf, that ball will bite. If it's a slick field, if there's a little bit of rain, that won't be the case. But Brandon's inexperience on the surface, to be honest, was at the heart of that moment. And Sammy Ochoa, a little more experienced in this facility, took advantage of that and calmly slots it past Miller. Still a lot of time, but not the start, obviously, Sounders 2 wanted. Now Tulsa can make things difficult if they so choose and put a lot of numbers behind the ball. Still a lot of game left, though, to adopt that kind of tactic.
Plenty of time to go. Sammy Ochoa, 3 goals now in 2 matches. He'll be very happy to come back here and get one for himself. Calmly slotted by former Seattle Sounders striker. Was at Wilmington Hammerheads for a season before traveling to Tulsa. Brought over by Dave Irving, former Hammerheads coach. USL. Nelson over the top, being cleared away. But S2 have it back. Here's Ojong. And it's knocked away. S2 didn't have any chances, really, but they had most of the possession in Tulsa's half. And just like that, counterattack goal, and they're stung. The first 10 minutes, this is not the first time, Wade, you and I have seen S2 concede in the first 10 minutes of a game. Mansoret, good turn from him. Going to fall to Nelson. His cross is nice to the far post. It's headed away, though, by Abidor. First corner of the match for S2. Excuse me, second corner. If it is indeed a corner, yes.
Good combination play. Again, Mansoret holding the ball up well. Good service as well. Michael Nelson curling that to the back post.
Myron Samuel over it. Sounders trailing 1-0. Ball whipped in, right to the hands of Feener, though. And he'll lob it forward for Kaleem. He wins it down. 24 caps for Pakistan for the number 10. There's a Choa.
Yes, Aaron, that was a shot. Sammy thought he saw Tyler Miller off his line, and
it's possible.
Can't win the lottery if you don't buy a ticket.
All over the top there. Mansouri can't get to it.
It's probably an example of Sounders 2 settling for things right now. The tempo is not as Ezra Hendrickson or Junior Gonzalez, the coaches of Sounders 2, would like it. A little too direct.
Certainly has to. Ball over there by Ojong to find Myron Samuel. His first touch plays him wide. He cuts it back. Bounces off Gary Centerazzo into the hands of Feener.
That's a good look and an excellent recovery run from Centerazzo. Myron Samuel, his first touch. He's hard on this surface to have a perfect first touch, but he put it in the right spot. Just couldn't quite get enough separation between he and Senazar to amount to more than a deflected ball.
Here's Henri. Switches it over, won by Remick. Now Schweitzer has it. Under pressure. Schweitzer can keep it. Dangerous area for him. He's fouled by Sammy Ochoa. It's good pressure, though, from Tulsa. See Adriano Pellegrino in there. Schweitzer switching over to the right to Nelson. Alfaro. There's Dylan Remick. Schweitzer has to get Street out of the way before he can get to the ball. Maybe a little bit upset with the referee for being right in his line.
You do see that sometimes when referees assume a position that is maybe in the natural flight of the ball. You'd like to not see it happen if it's you making the pass.
A long ball over the top from Tulsa. Brandon Johns got it down his feet. Knocks it back to Miller. Good pass from Miller into Schweitzer to keep it on the ground. Schweitzer switches play to Samuel. Won by Centerazzo. Now back by Ojong. Strong player in there, Mark Ojong. Is he able to find Samuel? Good pass from him. Samuel into the box. Cleared away by Tulsa. S2 will have their third corner of the game. 14th minute. Sounders 2 trail already to Tulsa. Scored in the 8th minute through Sammy Ochoa on a counterattack. This one's going to be taken by Dylan Remick this time. Myron Samuel's going to head to the top of the box. Left in swinger. Remick to the back post. Peters gets his head to it. Ojong back out to Remick. Going on his left foot. To the far post. Headed away again. Nice and powerful by Peters, the center back. Pellegrino. Looking for Kaleem. Knocked away though by Nelson. Tulsa have it back. Kind of an international midfield for Tulsa. 2 Ivorians and an Australian in Pellegrino. Manhebo Henry. Guy Belovi.
With the Martinique, St. Vincent connection. Cameroon as well. Veritable United Nations on the field.
Absolutely.
Olex Anderson right now is having to seek the game. As the ball's on the right side of the field, he's frequently tucking in and almost marking himself. And when he does stay wide, Sounders 2, it's taking a little too long to get the ball from point A to point B. So increasing the tempo of their passing, playing 2 and 3 touch. Tulsa really compact the field.
Not a lot of space in there. These S2 players who really like to stretch their legs. Here's Kaleem on the right-hand side. Alfaro's going to head it away. Throw in deep in S2 territory for Tulsa. It's got to be one of the most difficult tests for a young player, huh, Wade, to try and figure out, get the tempo, know when to play the pass, when not to. When to make that run. That's all part of the learning process for these guys.
Yeah, it definitely comes with age. And there is a tipping point when you get to be too old.
Dellum looking to find Anderson, but it's cut out by Pellegrino.
But most of these players are still at that point where they're new at being professionals, and they're not. It's not that they're not talented. It's understanding what it means to train every game or train every day, and then have, you know, a 30-game season.
Ojong. All the way to Remick. Dylan Remick. Schweitzer. Pressure from Ochoa. Here's Alex Anderson on the ball. With his back to goal, though. Certainly Tulsa would like to keep it like that. Nelson seeking out the run by Mansoray, but the pass is just a little too hard. Mansoray a little upset for it. About it. Nike. Nike's a proud partner of the USL. Follow at Nike Soccer on Twitter for all the latest Nike soccer information. There's Mansoray. Ojong. Good feet from him. It's going to be a foul, though, on Ochoa. And referee Chipolo Street warning Ochoa he may be his last time before he's presented a yellow card.
Sammy can't let it go. Still having conversations, chat. I don't think there probably wasn't a lot in that. Ochoa has a case that more was made of it than needed to.
And on the other end of the field, there's Abby Dort. Clips Anderson again. Gonna be a free kick for S2 in a dangerous area.
That's his second foul on Anderson. It'll be a broken record by the time this game is done, but I'd be surprised if he's not in the book, because this is clearly the tactic he's adopting, is to not allow Anderson any time or space, and if that means you take some fouls, you take some fouls. And a little bit cynical, but so far it's gotten the job done.
Certainly living dangerous as a right back, though, this early in the game, as you said, Wade. Myron Samuel, again, the only player over the ball. And whip it into the box. Nelson with a head to it. Oh, incredible stuff there from Alex Anderson. That was an athletic presentation. Ball bobbled up into the air. Got to take a look at that again. He's absolutely shoulder height.
Good height on the ball from Samuel. Nelson jumps well, and then Alex Anderson, hello. It sits up that nice. He's inside the 6, and you could say, well, it was easier than maybe a three-quarter bike from 20 yards. But I tell you what, to get up and down, the quick leap, and then to get the hips as high as he did, clinical finish. Good response from Sounders 2. Not yet 20 minutes into the match, and they're on the board. Tulsa's fouling of Anderson pays dividends for Sounders 2.
One of the reasons why he has been moved up to the Seattle Sounders. Alex Anderson, fabulous finish from him. You're wondering why he went for the spectaculars. You don't always have the time to wait for the ball to come down. Here is Tulsa on the other end. It's a curling shot, but easily handled by Miller. You don't always have time in the box to wait for the ball to come down to you. Defender can get his foot in, so boy, Anderson does his absolutely best to get that fantastic goal. Huge lift for S2 here in the 20th minute.
Some surging runs from midfield. I've seen a few from Dellum and from Mark Ojong, both looking to get behind It's very crowded for Victor Mansoray, Alex Anderson, Myron Samuel. There's not a lot of room for them to separate.
There's Mansoray now. A little collision with the feet, and he is going to get the foul. This time it's on Centerazzo. They're both going for the ball there, but wondering if Centerazzo's foot caught Mansoray's. Take a look at it here.
Victor's good first touch gets him out of that space, and it looks as if Victor does get the ball first, touch it over the head, and he gets a knock on the ankle for his trouble. Every defender will gesture as if they think it's that the forward is simulating. I don't know, there was a lot of simulation there. It's a foul.
Certainly it's a foul.
It's not a sin. It's just a foul.
Just a foul, absolutely. Well, Mansoray and Centerazzo still talking about it now. Mansoray seems to be just fine. Myron Samuel again over the ball. Well, Mansoray has to come off, though. The trainer came onto the field. And anytime a trainer comes onto the field, the player has to go off who's being seen. Not sure why he was on so quickly, but perhaps they thought he needed something. And Centerazzo does now get a yellow card, in fact. Interesting turn of events there.
It seemed belated at the very least. Not sure quite what the delay was for, or if he had a chance to speak to the assistant referee about the foul.
And that must have been what happened, because usually you either see the card or you don't see the card, and that's it, and that's that.
Sounders, too, have had a number of set pieces. They look dangerous. They've got a few big bodies on the field. And if Tulsa are going to continue to pick up these fouls in dangerous service positions, they're living dangerously.
Does Samuel have a possibility to go to the near post here?
It would depend if Fiener's going to cheat. If he's going to cheat and anticipate a ball served in, it could go, but I would suspect service on this one.
Dangerous free kick nonetheless. Myron Samuel. Chippewa Streets taking a look at what's going on the ball. Now finally blows his whistle. Here's Samuel whipping it in. Hard post. Again, it's Peters with a head on it. Nicely cleared by the center back. Anderson has it on the left now. There's Olex Anderson using that speed. Ball whipped across again right into the chest of Peters and cleared away by Tulsa. Schweitzer. Pressure on it from Khalid. Picks out Mansoray. He can't connect. Now Schweitzer again. Nelson. The ball from him to Ojong. Ojong back to Nelson. He'll hang on to it. Knocked out of bounds by Khalid. Good movement from this too.
Good confidence.
Samuel. Can't hold it up. Out of bounds. Throwing for Tulsa.
Starfire is not the widest field, and that does make it hard. You sometimes have to find the space. It's not so evident. And for a team that can pass the ball and move the ball, you can create the space as the ball circulates. But if you want to dribble, space gets compacted very quickly as the ball at your feet slows you down. So a running defender's faster.
Brandon John sees that ball out of bounds. Taking on McLeod. Centerazzo will come up to take the throw. Kaleem. He's got McLeod. McLeod with a little bit of space, taking it on inside, gets on his right foot. Again, no problem for Tyler Miller. He's going to throw it long. Catching Anderson on the break. Can he do it? Anderson still going. He's caught from behind. That's going to be a yellow card, too, for the Ivorian. Monhebo Henry. I think there was no doubt about that one. Great use of the throw from Miller.
I'm a little surprised that outside back David Abador got caught that far up the field. I think that's what Henry was having a couple of words with him after the play, because that card really came from a right back being far too advanced, especially with a guy like Olex Anderson lurking off his shoulder. The angle of this free kick is a tricky one for the goalkeeper. This is the classic. You could put this into a spot where it could go in on its own if the traffic in front of the goalkeeper is heavy enough.
We'll certainly see that many times in the game. Keeper thinks the defender's going to get it. Defender thinks the opposite. Trickles into the back post. Myron Samuel again over the ball. Does have Ojong and Schweitzer standing just behind him. Here he is, Samuel. Not a great ball from him, but gets the deflection. That's going to be another corner for S2. Samuel's had a couple of those that have been low.
Service could be better, but don't forget he did serve in the ball that led to the spectacular Alexanderson goal. So it is sometimes a question of volume. He's been getting a lot of opportunities, and here they are continuing. There's Victor Mansoray is occupying the space in front of the goalkeeper, and he's getting quite a bit of attention from Centerazo, excuse me. He's giving him fits.
Here's Samuel, ball whipped in. Tulsa able to clear, only as far as Ojong. Being hassled by McLeod. Now being tracked. Ball's cleared away. Dellum. Michael Nelson off of Centerazo. Throw in S2. 27th minute here, Starfire Stadium. Seattle Sounders 2-1, Tulsa Roughnecks 1. Been an exciting first half so far, Wade.
Yeah, action-packed. There's a couple of yellow cards on the books already. Opportunities. It's not been a terribly pretty game, but it doesn't have to be. If it's open, it can be entertaining, and it definitely has been that so far.
Tulsa getting their goal on a counterattack in the 8th minute from Sammy Ochoa as the ball in from Ojong, cleared away by Pellegrino. Schweitzer wins the header there. Ball being knocked around again, as we've seen that several times. Peters on it now. He'll clear it along to McLeod. Ojong's taking it off McLeod. Mark Ojong fouled him behind by McLeod. He's not. There's a tackle from Nelson on McLeod. Game continues to get chippier. Spoke too soon earlier. Michael Nelson called for the foul on McLeod. It looked from our angle, Wade, that as if he'd pushed Ojong. Perhaps that was just the collision, as you're seeing right there. There's a tackle there from Nelson to bring him down.
A bit of argy-bargy. There's some afters going on right now.
Getting him the tackle there is number 12, Balobi.
A little tactical shift as Myron Samuel has shifted to the left wing, and Olex Anderson now matched up on the right. Centerazo on a yellow card now has to deal with Anderson's pace. Could be a smart move from the coaching staff from Sounders too.
Well, I'm certain Tulsa's head coach Dave Irving's going to want his players to relax just a little bit. 2 guys on yellow cards already. Perhaps Ezra's going to have to ask S2 for the same. Don't pick anything up unnecessarily. They lost O'Neal Fisher in the last game to Oklahoma City to 2 yellow cards. That game became chippy at the end. Good flick on there by Mansoray. He's got Jordy Dellum, but shots deflected. Easily picked up by Feener. Oklahoma City had been moving the ball around, trying to match S2. S2 seemed to be doing it a bit better. Gets a goal, and Oklahoma City changed their tactics, go a little more direct. And it was a difficult time for S2. Tyler Miller under pressure from Ochoa. Looking for Remick. Samuel on the left. Again, ball bounced around, no one with any real possession. This time Myron Samuel knocks it out. It's going to be a throw-in for Tulsa.
You'd like to see the game settle. You'd like to see both teams get it on the deck and knock it around. But that requires 2. It does take 2 to tango sometimes, and well, probably all the time, literally. I don't know of any solo tangos. But I do know that Sounders 2 are in probably the last 20 minutes have done a much better job of picking out the pass and attempting to thread some balls. It's just right now Tulsa are doing a really good job of staying compact. Right now, there's not a Tulsa player on our side of the field. You know, they keep it in a nice tight block, and they try and shift as a unit.
Certainly disciplined defensively. Now they pour 5-6 players forward. Free kick. Going to be Pellegrino over it. Australian. He'll go long. Trying to pick out Peters, which makes complete sense. Knocked around Ochoa in the box. He sends it back through to the middle. Headed away by Brandon John. Good header from the young man. Some pressure there from Tulsa.
Yeah, that would be the definition of Route 1. A free kick in your own half of the field in the 30th minute that you pump into the opponent's box. And if it works, you know, Tulsa saw, I'm sure, the game against Oklahoma City, and eventually that can wear down on you. We talked about it in the pregame. It's critical that Sounders FC, Sounders 2 do not get drawn into that approach themselves, that they use width, that they play 2 and 3 touch, they keep it on the ground, they change the point of attack. They wear this Tulsa team out, frankly.
Well, we certainly saw them in the last 20 minutes or so of that Oklahoma City game where they were sucked into that. Just took a barrage of long balls and long throws, and at the very end, the last second of the game, Oklahoma City get the equalizer. As you see Alfaro see the ball out of bounds. And it takes quite a bit of discipline for a young team like that to continue with that kind of pressure over the top, that kind of physicality.
Yeah, it's discipline to do it. It takes courage. I've used that word a couple of times. It's, you know, it's not like military courage, but the fear of losing a ball can be strong for a young player.
So you see Tyler Miller's clearance cut out by Kaleem. One back by Remick. Here's Schweitzer under pressure, but finds Remick again. Now Jordy Dellum. Martinique man surging forward, looking for Myron Samuel, but it's cut out. Dellum will get it back. Schweitzer. Looking to switch it to Nelson, but just a little too far in front of him. Going for Tulsa.
It's that sort of changing of the point of attack from Schweitzer that Sounders 2 are going to need to see. Because Tulsa get across to block access down one flank, and that can't simply force you to loft a ball into the box, where Peters is going to win most battles this evening.
Centerazo again. Kaleem wins it. McLeod fighting for it. Schweitzer. We have a man down on the ground. It's going to be Nelson. Chippewa Street says it's something to do with the head, and he's got to go off the field.
He has to be checked out by the medical staff.
Take a look there. It looks like it might have been an arm from Kaleem that hits Michael Nelson. He says he's all right.
Chippewa Street is saying
Nelson does
he
not
has to go off.
And there he goes.
That's the you know, I don't want to get too editorial here, but you know, players, if you take an arm to the head, sometimes players will stay on the ground a little longer than they need to. I don't know if it's to, you know, force the referee to consider a booking or something. And you know, I would advocate, if you're hurt, stay down. If you're not hurt, get up. And you know, if Nelson's all right, I'd rather see him pop right back up on his feet. It's not the modern game, I guess.
Just like that, Nelson's back on the field to take the throw after we saw Tulsa kick it out of bounds.
Yeah, Sammy Ochoa should have given that back to Tyler Miller, but
would have been more of a sporting thing.
Yeah, but when it goes out, he does allow Nelson to get back on the field, so perhaps
a little bit of,
yeah, he's done that intentionally. Good switch to Anderson.
Here is Olex Anderson at the top of the box, cuts in on his right foot, tackled away though. Schweitzer. John does not see Ochoa hanging off his left shoulder, and here's Sammy Ochoa on the break. Sammy Ochoa still going, slips past Miller, and there is the second goal from the KG striker. 35th minute. He has proven to be a handful tonight for S2. And here it is. Brandon John doesn't see Ochoa, just hanging out behind him, drops it to Miller. And it's an easy finish for the Tulsa striker.
As an old center back, that's the one thing you can't do. You can't have a back pass get cut out. He looked over his shoulder toward the goal, not knowing that Ochoa was over the other shoulder, and Ochoa read his intention, made that run behind. If John takes a couple of touches, Ochoa could pressure him, you could foul him. If you have the ball at your feet, you're not in nearly as much trouble as when you get rid of it. If you're playing negatively, it's obviously a problem. Brandon John will have to think about that and put that out of his head, to be honest. It's a couple of misplays, and Sounders 2 find themselves 2-1 down. Now 10 minutes till halftime.
Another lesson learned, but plenty of time to play. 36th minute here in the first half. S2 1, Tulsa 2. 2 goals from Sammy Ochoa. That's now 4 in 2 games for the former Seattle Sounders striker. And we'll see McLeod break it up here. Brandon John with the header. Back to Ochoa now. 2 goals here at Starfire Stadium for him. Centerazo, McLeod, Ochoa. It's also a little bit of possession here. Peters can't hang on to it, and he'll knock it out of bounds. Become a fan of the USL on Facebook for exclusive news and interactive content, social media, and follow at USL on Twitter to keep up with all of the live action during the 2016 USL season. S2, Sounders 2, Tulsa Roughnecks, Mother's Day as we see the ball through to Kaleem. Got an exciting one here. Score 2-1 right now to Tulsa. Sounders 2 have had much more of the possession, more corners. But that's the game of soccer for you as Tulsa lead 2-1. Here's Kaleem. Brandon John on his back. Gets it. Switches it to Belobi. Lost by Henri. Here's Anderson. Jordy Dellum. Can he get it out there to Samuel? He does. Samuel on the ball. Still has it. Shot from Samuel that's going to go wide. Good little break. Samuel was probably hoping to get that ball a little bit earlier.
There's a reasonable counter from Sounders 2. Schweitzer intercepts and initiates the break. Probably the decision to steer the ball one way or the other at that time gave the back four a chance to recover. They played it a little too early to Samuel. Gave him too much to do at the end.
Nice header won by Brandon John. Choa. Kaleem. Centerazo. Ball from him over the top looking for McLeod, but cleared up by Alfaro. Centerazo now on ball. Still working with it. Michael Nelson wins it. Samuel. It's going to be a throw-in now for Nelson. Ball being knocked around here. Now it's cleared out by Belobi. Can't settle it. It's going to be thrown for S2.
Tulsa right now will be happy as they could be, not just with the scoreline, but with the tempo the game's being played at. Very stop-start, free kicks and throw-ins.
Sounders, too, have not given up 2 goals since the San Antonio game. Excuse me, the Rio Grande Valley 2-2 draw they had here. See Schweitzer. A little bit of a foul from Ochoa on Schweitzer this time, and now he's going to pick up a yellow card on top of 2 goals. That is the 3rd yellow card so far for Tulsa. He joins Centerazo and Henri. The 40th minute.
It's a little act of petulance, perhaps. Didn't have to give Schweitzer the little knock as he played the ball away, but when you score 2 goals, maybe you feel you can get away with something like that. Chippewa Street disagreed, and he's the guy with the whistle.
I've seen a couple of fouls from Ochoa early on. That was his last warning, and he picks up a yellow card. Here's Ojong. So the ball's cleared away by Tulsa. Anderson can't flick it on to Remick. Cleared away by Pellegrino. Belobi on the ball. Lost out to it. Schweitzer gives it away. Ochoa sees it out. It's going to be thrown for Tulsa.
5 minutes till halftime. Tulsa are in absolutely no hurry. They'll be in no hurry for the rest of the match if the scoreline stays the same. Again, the rhythm is exactly as they want it.
Schweitzer does well. Switches it over to Michael Nelson. Playing it right back for the first time tonight. Myron Samuel. Still Samuel. Tulsa gets everyone back. Nelson across, knocked away. That's Peters. On it again. Well, you're right, Wade. Tulsa certainly drop in everybody. Very defensively tough to break down. Samuel. Again, Peters. And that big body of his on it. Now Michael Nelson working on Centerazzo. His cross is going to go behind the goal. Maybe a goal kick.
Those situations getting isolated, you know, you could call it a one-on-one against their outside back. If it takes too long to develop, you could be in that position, but there'll be too many bodies in the middle, too many red shirts in the middle to really be able to pick out a cross. And at that point, you're relying on luck or a mistake. You know, the switching the play in midfield right now is going to force Tulsa to go left and right, and gaps are going to form in what is at the moment a pretty well organized back four.
Ojong knocks it long from Mansoret. Never going to win that header against Peters. At least it was going to be a tough ask. Now Abidor on the right, looking for Kaleem. Tony Alfaro back to Miller. To Belobi, can't settle it. Schweitzer. Touch from Remick. Jordy Dellum. It's his first start today for Mr. Dellum. Myron Samuel making a diagonal run. Remick's going to hang on to it. Alex Anderson, goal scorer for S2. Still on the ball. Anderson broken down the left-hand side. Trying to find Samuel, but he can't break through. Tulsa have won it back. Ochoa. Pellegrino. One out, though, by Schweitzer. Got Anderson. Being seen by Watley. Anderson still on the ball. Tackle from Pellegrino. Anderson's down. Now it's Schweitzer in the box. We've got another call from Street, and it seems a little bit late again. Nonetheless, foul on Pellegrino. Free kick for S2 in a really good position.
Well, you want to make sure the referee gets it right. Maybe if it takes a little longer to make the decision, as long as it's the right decision, either way, you don't mind it.
You think he's looking for advantage here?
Perhaps. And certainly as Anderson attempts to play the ball backward, Pellegrino doesn't stop his run down and slow it down and has the collision. This really can be treated like a corner kick, but it's in a different position now. You get a different sort of whip on the ball as the ball's about 3 yards on the field.
44th minute here. Myron Samuel again. He'll whip it inside. Ball being knocked around, finally cleared away again. This time it's going to be a foul on S2. Free kick for Tulsa. All USL matches are available live, free, and in HD on YouTube. Follow the action on the USL YouTube channel. All the Sounders too. Tulsa Roughnecks. Everybody in the 29-team league. Stretches all the way across the country.
Tony Alfaro getting called for a little overzealous attempt to win the ball. Now we're into the final minute before stoppage in the first half.
Ball won nice there by Ojong. Goes long with it. It's won by Watley. Plays it long, but Miller's easily going to get to it. Schweitzer. Going to be 2 minutes left in this first half as we close in on number 45. 2 minutes of stoppage time. It's going to be seen the throw in from Abidor. Well, obviously Tulsa Roughnecks thrilled to be ahead 2-1 right now. S2 haven't played badly, have they, Wade? But they.
Well, it's not been a pretty match from either side up till this point, but Sounders 2 have not done enough to probably deserve to be behind. You know, it's the mistakes that Sammy Ochoa has capitalized on. He was the danger man going into the match. He lived up to the billing. Ezra's got some work to do, but maybe they can throw the dice here at the end of the half and get at least one more opportunity on goal.
Switch ball from Nelson to Alfaro. Not the quickest pass back to Remick, but he gets to it. Alfaro again. Alfaro has been, since day one here at S2, playing in that center back position. Remick can't hang on to it. Out of bounds. Going to be a throw in here. Pellegrino will just hold it up. Wait for Abidor to come and throw it in. Whereas in the last few seconds of this first half here, Starfire Stadium. Wind seems to have died down just a little bit. Here's Ochoa. Abidor. Kaleem. Now to Pellegrino. Henry can't control it. Pellegrino just knocks it in the air. Dellum fighting for the header. Ball again, just all over the place. Settle down finally. Take that back. Brandon John goes along with it. It's going to stay in, and Mansoray is going to look to hunt it down. Peters will head it out. Mansoray quickly looking for a chance to throw it back in. He's got Samuel. Mansoray looking for Anderson. Myron Samuels won the tackle, but the referee's going to say perhaps he had a foot up there. Free kick for Tulsa.
Mr. Street probably suggesting that Samuel comes in with his studs. Don't get a really good look at it on the replay. This will be much better. Yeah, sole of the foot. Again, 2016, you really can't tackle that way. Don't think there certainly was no malice. Foot was on the ball.
Foot was on the ball. And there is the whistle from referee Chapala Street. That is halftime here at Starfire Stadium. Seattle Sounders 2-1. Tulsa Roughnecks 2, courtesy of 2 goals from Sammy Ochoa. 3 yellow cards in the first half. Senorazo, Henry, and Ochoa all on Tulsa's side. You have picked up yellow cards. Sounders 2, more dominant, more of the ball, but they find themselves trailing. Wade, what do you think Ezra's going to say in the halftime?
The most important thing right now is to be able to possess the ball with intent in Tulsa's half. I haven't seen Sounders to create a number 10, a true attacking midfielder, and put him as sometimes Zach Mathers would do in earlier games in the season. It's critical to have someone there who can pick passes and dictate play and pull strings. Right now it's a little too direct. They settle that part down, they're going to have chances to score in the second half.
And we'll be back with analysis and highlights at halftime here at Starfire Sports Stadium. Sounders 2-1, Tulsa Roughnecks 2. We'll be right back.
No matter how much we love the game, there's a line we don't cross. That line is discrimination. No racism, no sexism, no homophobia, no bullying, no excuses, no exceptions. We stand as one. Rise above discrimination. Take the pledge. Don't cross the line.
Sounders FC fans, if you haven't already heard, the Steve Zakawani and Friends charity match has been scheduled for Sunday, May 15th, here at Starfire Stadium. He's got quite the squad lined up for this match. Eddie Johnson, Landon Donovan, and Stephen Hauschka are just to name a few. For ticket information, visit SoundersFC.com.
So I think what you find is that with our players after the game, what's really important is for them to try to get back into this calm and restful state so they can recover better. And something like yoga, which is centered largely around breathing and a little mobility and stability work, really helps them to get back into that state as quickly as possible to allow them to recover quicker to be ready for the next game.
Yeah, I think number one is I feel pretty good coming out of it. The body feels a bit looser. Like I said before, you have some tightness, so just making sure that all your bases are covered, making sure the hamstrings, quads, lower back are good to go for the next week of training. I'd say the guy that needs the most probably Tyler Miller. Today he was cramping, of all things, doing yoga. I'm pretty pathetic. So goalies in general, I think, need to work on yoga. Might increase their reflexes a little bit, stretching out the hands, the forearms. So probably Tyler Miller.
I mean, in group setting, it helps team chemistry, doing things together. We're able to bond, and you get little funny moments in there that just brings the guys closer together, and it just helps us develop as a team.
When the guys are able to do these things and they go through a big range of motion and they have control and they're breathing through it and they have control over their body through these ranges of motion, it prepares them to be able to step on the field. And when they're in those awkward positions and their leg is flying up or they're going in for a tackle or they're in a weird position, well, they've already been in that position and they're able to be comfortable in that position, and they're going to be less at risk when they're in that position in the game.
I think benefits for us are flexibility, number one, letting the body regen by stretching. Anytime you have any soreness, it might be stemming from something that's a little bit different. So maybe it's a tight back that are making your hamstrings sore. So just making sure that we cover all the basics and get us ready for the next week of training.
Visualization is a huge part of soccer, and so being able to see what you need to do on the field in a yoga setting, it really helps you focus on that and just prepares you for when you have to go out on the field and actually perform.
A normal everyday person is still, you're still trying to learn how to shut off from the day, and that's part of it, is learning how to shut off and to relax and to be able to allow your body to get into a state that it can recover and, you can feel 100%. You can sleep well, you can, feel good throughout the day, feel like you have good energy, and those are all parts of it, learning how to, just shut down and relax and focus on breathing or focusing on, just one thing at a time helps you to get into that state. So whether you're performing at a high level on the field or performing at a high level at the office, it's kind of the same thing from your body standpoint.
And welcome back to Starfire Stadium. Halftime here. Seattle Sounders 2-1, Tulsa Roughnecks 2. We mentioned before, 2 goals courtesy of Sammy Ochoa, former Seattle Sounders striker. And, of course, 1 goal from Olex Anderson, who's spent plenty of time on the CenturyLink field with the Seattle Sounders this season. Wade, been an exciting game so far. 3 yellow cards for Tulsa Roughnecks. Been a physical game. Hasn't been quite the fluidity that we've seen, but we can start out with a first goal here from Tulsa Roughnecks. Came through Sammy Ochoa, and this one, maybe just a little bit of breakdown from the Sounders 2 defense.
A searching ball behind that Brandon John just doesn't read the spin and tries to intercept when probably should drop more. Sammy Ochoa, once he gets the opportunity, he doesn't need a second invitation. Coolly slots it home with his left foot. Brandon John will get better at reading those bounces and the flight of those balls, but was a rough one because up until that point, Tulsa had threatened not at all, and Sounders 2 looked to be confident in playing in the other end of the field.
And that goal came right in the 9th minute early on. Like you said, after Sounders 2 had a lot of possession, but they do reply, and reply spectacularly through Olex Anderson after a free kick from Myron Samuel.
Yeah, Anderson earns the free kick. Samuel puts a nice ball in that is contested, pops straight up in the air as you see on the replay. Good height on the jump. And Olex Anderson, you could say right place, right time, but not just anyone could finish in the style of Olex Anderson, who times his leap, gets his hips in the right spot, and makes good contact with the 3-quarter bicycle kick. Dramatic equalizer for Sounders 2. And at that point, things really did look bright and rosy for Sounders 2 to push on and maybe take the lead.
As you said, Sounders 2 had a lot of possession, a lot of corner kicks. Tulsa began to get a little chippy, picked up a couple of yellow cards, but then a costly mistake again at the back for Sounders 2 sees Sammy Ochoa in for Tulsa's second goal of the match.
Well, the thing about being a central defender or a goalkeeper is that it's like a trapeze artist with no safety net. You make a mistake, you are very much on display, and it leads directly to opportunities to score. You know, a young man like Brandon John will obviously not want to have done that, but you have to sometimes cross lines to know where they are. You sometimes have to make mistakes, as long as you're willing to learn from it. I watched Brandon for the rest of that half, and I tried to just gauge his mood. He shook his head a few times. It looked to me as if he was still carrying that with him, and that's something he's going to have to just forget, because mistakes by forwards never lead to goals against. Mistakes by defenders and goalkeepers often do. And that's part of the territory, and you have to be able to live with that. You're going to make mistakes, and sometimes you have to hope your teammates can pick them up, and that's where he's got to look and maybe hope that Victor Mansoray scores 2 in the second half, Sounders 2 win 3-2, and then Brandon can buy Victor a nice steak dinner afterward.
And Sammy Ochoa is a striker who's red hot right now. He now has 4 goals in 2 matches. Certainly be looking for more in the second half. Ezra Hendrickson can't be too disappointed with the way his team's played. They've dominated the possession, but they still find themselves trailing 2-1. That is soccer, but what can he do in the second half? What is he going to tell his players?
The challenge he's now facing is a Tulsa team that doesn't have to do anything else. They're in a leading position at halftime. They can stay compact, and Ezra is going to need to preach the importance of changing the point of attack quickly, because the ball is the fastest thing on the field, and if Sounders 2 can get the ball from right touchline to left or vice versa quickly, Tulsa will not be able to rotate and get in position to defend that fast enough. But it's not just to get it sideline to sideline. Once you get it there has to be then numbers around the ball to create 2v1s on the edge, where you can maybe either cross or cut into goal. There's pace on this field for Sounders 2 to get that done. There's quality in midfield to make those passes. Now it's just up to the players to execute.
And Sounders 2 do have some possibilities on the bench. Darwin Jones is there, so a long return. And, well, Olex Anderson, if he's going to be staying in the first team, he may not see the entire match. We'll just have to see what happens there. Tulsa Roughnecks on the other side, what do you think they're going to be thinking?
Well, they're happy with where they are, and for them it's about closing the shop and not offering Sounders 2 any more opportunities.
And we'll be right back with more analysis and the second half.
Whacked away but not fully to Jimmy Traore. He tries a volley! Oh, it's spectacular goal! Absolutely incredible from Jimmy Traore! It is world-class momentum! 30 yards out, left foot rocket, cannonading off the underside of the crossbar. No goalkeeper in the universe will stop it!
For me, first of all, it was like my first start for the Sounders at home. And Central Link, it was like massive, it was big for me. And to score that goal on your first appearance, I think is incredible, you know, because I played for 10 different teams in my career. That never happened to me. That it was like great. I was so pleased at first, like Gianandrele Yedlin scored his first professional goal. I was so pleased for him. And I was more happy for him than for me for when I scored my goal, because I know that feeling, like when you score your first goal in your career on a professional level, and it was a very important game for us. It was like fantastic, you know. I have like a lot of great time, you know, but one of the most I would say is like one was the year we won the supportership, because it was like very important for the club, very important for the fan, and that year, yes, we have the great team, you know. Of course, the expectation in that club is to win the MLS Cup for the fan, for the owner, for the coach and the staff. And we've been so close, because that year we've been like the best team in the regular season, and we have confidence. And unfortunately, you know, we lost against LA, but that's the way it is, you know. And that's the next step for that new generation, you know. even when I decided to retire, I knew I wanted to retire, but when I had the conversation with the coach and the owner, Adrian, Ziggy, and the staff, you know, when we decided which role I would take, it was strange because from 1 minute I was a player, and the next minute I would jump straight in the office with them and have meeting talking about some of my ex-teammates, some of my best friends on the team, and it was like kind of strange for me, you know. So it's like, it was like a little bit strange, but after that I have a good conversation with the coach, with the staff, to make sure I make the right decision, and yes, it was nice. It was nice, to be honest, and the way they welcomed me on the staff and all the guys, even the player, it was great for me, you know. They make the thing so easy for me.
Sounders FC fans, ever wonder what it's like watching a match from the sidelines at your own table? It's possible with our slalom experience pitch side tables at CenturyLink Field. This exclusive experience includes an on-field table for four, food and beverage with wait staff, on-site parking, and more. Call 877-MLS-GOAL or visit SoundersFC.com. Your table is ready.
Welcome back, Starfire Stadium. Seattle Sounders 2-1, Tulsa Roughnecks 2. Aaron Heinzen, Wade Weber, halftime just about over. Get the second half under the way. Just want to talk about real briefly, Wade. Sounders 2, 4 fouls. Tulsa Roughnecks 11, 3 yellow cards for Tulsa. Kind of a similar situation to last week. Oklahoma City Energy with a lot of fouls, real rough game. A game that actually saw O'Neal Fisher pick up 2 yellow cards and a red card. That's why he's not in the lineup today. How can Sounders 2 deal with that kind of pressure, that kind of physicality the second half?
Sounders 2 have maintained good discipline in that regard. Again, only 4 fouls, and a couple of them tactical, but none of them deemed card-worthy. The Sounders have scored their goal from a restart that came as a result of Olex Anderson getting chopped down. So you've got already you've punished the Roughnecks for maybe the physical play, but it's not avoidable. You know, I wouldn't say Roughnecks have been any more cynical than many teams that come to Starfire and look to get a result. They're a desperate team, you know, just as Sounders 2 are. So this second half, if that's the method that Sounders 2 have to adopt to get 3 points, then maybe they have to adopt that. But I think this group of players need the ball on the ground, need the rhythm, need to pass, need to play an attractive style to be successful.
And the physicality we saw last week from Oklahoma City, Sounders 2, certainly had some reactions. I suppose there's a balance, though, between a team reacting and playing physical while meanwhile maintaining their focus. And I feel like Sounders 2, sometimes their focus is to play, keep the ball, play as well as they can, and if they start getting into the physical things, maybe it takes their concentration away from their job sometimes.
Listen, it is a physical sport. It's not always for the faint of heart, and you know the challenges tonight have been mostly fair. You know, even Tulsa, they do have a lot of fouls. They've picked up 3 bookings, but for the most part, their intent has been to play the ball, and they've mistimed some tackles. So Sounders 2 can't get caught up in that. They can't look to the referee to solve their problems. They have to solve them themselves. They have the personnel, they have the pace and the technique to open this Tulsa defense up, but it's going to have to be done with a little greater tempo.
And we're just about ready to get the second half underway here at Starfire Stadium. There's the whistle from Mr. Street. We are underway. Sounders 2 looking to get an equalizer here. Tulsa Roughnecks looking to get their first win since their home opener against Rio Grande Valley Toros. Both these sides with just 1 win. Sounders 2 with a few more draws. 1-3-3. Tulsa Roughnecks 1-5-1. Just to quickly go over the substitutes on the bench here, starting with Tulsa, Bradley Bellew, Marysville, Washington, Seattle U grad, Mason Grimes, Taylor Morgan, Carlos Martinez, Alex Mangels, backup goalkeeper, Jason Campio, and Christian Mata, all on the bench here for Tulsa tonight. And for Sounders, too, Cameroonian left back Nuhu Tolo, U18 Academy product Toby John Hope, Zach Mathers, the midfielder, goalkeeper Charlie Lyon, Willie Kapawa, Carlos Patino, and as I mentioned, Darwin Jones. See McLeod try to fit it through to Kaleem there. He'll switch it through Henri. Can't find his pass. Dylan Remick has it. Here's Olex Anderson. Tackled it away, but now Remick has it. Ojong out on the left. Ball from Remick looking for Mansoray, but misses him. McLeod's got it for Tulsa. Cleared away there by Cinerazzo. Not too far. And now Belobi will see it out.
Sees it nearly into the Green River. That's a no-nonsense clearance.
Probably not the first ball lost to the river as we see that back pass again. This time it's picked up by Kaleem. Abidor getting around Kaleem here as we see a player go down. Collision looks like between Alfaro. And I want to say that's Sammy Ochoa down there. Seems to be in some pain.
Alfaro doesn't seem to have come out of it unscathed himself. He's walking gingerly, stretching his quad. Off the ball, my guess is, I had my eye on the ball, and my guess is Sammy was trying to time a run through, and Alfaro trying to move in the direction to close a lane or a gap, and they came together.
Remick will hand the ball back to Tulsa. Feener, the other Seattle U grad here on Tulsa Roughnecks side, along with Brady Bellew. Long ball from him. Clouds in there. Now Ojong. Mark Ojong. Switches it over the right-hand side to Michael Nelson. Forward ball from Nelson, picked out. Back over the top, it's Alfaro, he deals with it well. Brandon John. There's Jordy Dellum, comes flying in to win that header. Olex Anderson some pressure, but Feener comes out and grabs it. 49th minute here at Starfire Stadium. Sounders 2, trailing by a goal to Tulsa Roughnecks. Looking to get, both sides looking to get just their second win this USL season. 2016, it's flicked on there from McLeod by Kaleem. Pellegrino save it. Referee says he does not. Throw in for S2.
We're over 4 minutes in. Second half has begun much as the first half ended. A little frantic, a little physical. The game needing somebody to inject quality and put the ball on the deck. I don't think Tulsa right now are terribly interested in that.
Miller under some pressure with Kaleem as that ball's played back to him from Alfaro. Knocks it long. That's going to drift out of bounds. Throw in for Tulsa on the far side. Tulsa putting lots of pressure on S2 every time a player is on the ball. 4 or 5 players around him.
And they're keeping enough men behind the ball right now, 4 deep enough to defend any counterattack. But who can stop Olex if the pass is played into the right channel rather than down the middle? Anderson is off to the races.
It's a good look from Schweitzer, who played that ball, but as you said, waged straight down the middle, easily picked up by Feener, coached by Pete Fewing, Seattle University.
Good friend of ours.
Man well known here in the Seattle soccer community. Mansoray, back heel, deflected. Here's Jody Dellum, gets a touch to it first, but gonna go straight out of bounds. Couldn't get it on goal.
Jody Dellum, the beneficiary of a heavy touch from Avador. Feener does a good job to come out, cut the angle off to goal.
And if I'm not mistaken, it looks like Dellum's changed his shoes. I think he was wearing all black shoes at the beginning of this match. He's now wearing bright green.
It's an interesting change. You don't often see that on turf.
Don't.
At halftime, unless the conditions have changed, and we've had no rain. Whatever works, Aaron. Whatever works.
Looking for getting his goal scoring boots on, Jody Dellum. Free kick here, though, meantime, for Tulsa. Pellegrino's over it. Mansoray's just going to stand in front of him a bit. Pellegrino going to loft it long right into the middle. Not a bad ball. As Miller comes out, gets a piece of it. Really needed to be confident there, and he does. Mansoray says he took a little nick from Pellegrino. We'll see what transpires here. Street talking to him now. Pellegrino says he didn't touch him. It's right in front of us. Well, perhaps it was just the motion from Pellegrino. We saw the...
No, there's certainly no contact with his feet, but he did flail an arm behind when he realized he didn't get a piece of the ball. Truthfully, Mansoray fortunate to get the call on that one. There was probably not enough in that to warrant the whistle, but it comes to nothing as Sounders 2 gift possession back via throw-in.
Choa flicks it on Schweitzer. Touch from Alexanderson to Ojong on his way down the middle. Mark Ojong still going. He's got Victor Mansoray. He's got time. Mansoray with the shot. Straight at the middle, straight at Feener. Doesn't catch it, though. Knocks it over the top of the bar. First corner of the second half for S2.
That's the second time we've seen powerful surging runs from Mark Ojong. One down the right flank in the first half. This one right down the middle. And Sounders 2 earn a corner. Powerful drive from Mansoray.
Mansoray again. Schweitzer, good ball in the middle, headed away though by who else? Peters. Mansoray fighting for it again. McLeod clears it out, throwing for S2. 54th minute here in the second half.
It's a very good strike from Mansoray as well. It wasn't just powerful. It was on target, low, hard. If he gets that either way, left or right of Feener, he's going to have to do well to hold that and keep it out.
Myron Samuel. Schweitzer knocks it to the other side. Alfaro, can he chase it down? Great tackle from Tony Alfaro. He needed that. Got Dylan Remick. Cross comes from Remick. Takes a little deflection. Mansoray gets to it. Olex can't. Lots of pressure from S2 here. Schweitzer. Dylan Remick. Good touch from him. Surging forward, but now cleared away from Watley. Tulsa still managing to keep S2 from getting a shot on goal, at least in that circumstance. Schweitzer's got the ball back. Ojong. Flicked on by Anderson, going to go a little too far. Nelson can't track it down. Got a player down here. It looks like it's Pellegrino on the far side. I don't think Street's seen him. Does now. Good work there, though, from Sounders 2. Good possession.
Over the course of this game, you'll see, I think Tulsa, you know, it's a long road trip, long way from home. They played recently, and they're now at that stage where maybe there is some fatigue. Players, you know, they almost an unchanged lineup from the Vancouver match. And Pellegrino, I didn't see if he took a knock. Trainer looking at what appears to be ankle, not knee. this could be, I don't want to suggest that he's just trying to take the air out of the ball a little bit as Sounders too apply a nice spell of pressure over the last 5 minutes.
The Australian man most recently played in the second division in Thailand. Was the MVP of the Australian A-League way back in 2009. So he's got quite a bit of playing experience. All finally cleared there from Tulsa all the way back to Alfaro. Confident touch from him. Back to Miller. Still tracking it as McLeod. Doesn't get the best on it. McLeod's going to go for it, but he would have been whistled for offside, so he leaves it. Schweitzer now to Nelson. Michael Nelson, 3 in front. Picks out Mansoray. I spoke too soon. Remick. There's Dylan Remick again. Haven't seen a ton of Remick tonight, have we, Wade?
He hasn't had the opportunity to get forward, frankly, and Olex Anderson is now pinching in, giving Remick room behind.
A ball that is Schweitzer can be hunted down. Dellum can't get to it. Feener bravely comes out and cleans it up.
For your left back, the cue is to, as we see the replay, Dellum needed about a size 16 shoe to get his toe on the end of that one. But as your wing, in this case Olex Anderson, if he's adopting a wide position on the touchline, there's really no chance for Remick to get forward. But Olex Anderson's now starting to occupy central spaces. So Remick, in theory, can now provide that outlet up the line.
Miller's clearance is picked off by Abador. He's still going. Now Alfaro steps in there. Anderson wins the header. Jody Dellum. Schweitzer. He's got Mansoray, but he's just off sides. Victor Mansoray standing just in front of Watley.
It's a close call. Coaching staff for Sounders 2 disagree with the decision from the assistant to call Mansoray offside. Looked like the nearest center back, Watley, may have kept him on, but the assistant was in a good enough position. I have to trust that his eyes are better than mine.
Always a tough call for the assistant referees. Just a split second is all they have to make sure they have that right. Mansoray now. Anderson, what S2 want? Anderson going straight at him, but his pass too far. The run wasn't made by Dellum.
Dellum had to check his run at that point as Tulsa stopped and established an offside line. Anderson didn't see Remick picking up a head of steam down that left-hand channel. It might have been the better option at that point.
Alfaro wins the header. Ojong over the top for Mansoray. Flag goes up again for him. This time, pretty obvious he's offsides. S2 putting some pressure on Tulsa. Just that one last pass away from breaking through.
Still 30 minutes to go, plus change, and at this rate, you'd think Sounders 2 are going to get a couple other really good looks. Tulsa's starting to look a little fatigued. Their lines are getting drawn. They're not as compact as they were in the first half.
All over the top at Shoa. Lobe wins it. Here's Ochoa again. This time he's flagged offsides. A free kick for S2. Nike's a proud partner of the USL. Follow at Nike Soccer on Twitter for all the latest Nike soccer information.
Another tactical adjustment. Mark Ojong has moved into the point, the number 10 attacking midfield role, as it were.
Leaving Dellum and Schweitzer to sit. Here's Schweitzer now. Michael Nelson on the right-hand side. He'll send that cross in. Peters gets to it. Shoa plays it off. It's going to go over the top, looking for McLeod. He's unable to get to it. Goal kick here for S2. Taken quickly to Dylan Remick on the outside. He's got plenty of space. Entire Tulsa team shifts over. And certainly will be putting in a lot of work. Be glad to get home. One thing about the USL teams all over the place. We see a long ball from Alfaro. Can be long road trips coming from the middle of the United States all the way out to the West Coast to play 2 games. Their last game was on Wednesday, May 4th. Stayed up here in the Pacific Northwest, dropped down to Seattle, play another game, and then they head home, only to go to Swope Park, which is Kansas City. A lot closer to home, but you're still on the road. Not an easy league.
It's not, and it's Major League Soccer. It's a lot more convenient. You're in and out for one game. There's no extended road trips of that nature. You'll occasionally go and maybe if you have a Sunday, Wednesday, a Saturday, Wednesday on the road, you may just travel from one to the other. But you have to pay your dues to get to that level. And Sounders too have had a lot of home games, had a lot of home cooking so far, and wanting to turn that into points in the standings.
Needing to take advantage of every home game, as you said, Wade. They'll have massive road streaks towards the end of this season. We get to August and September, but for now, take advantage of all the home games they can as we see Brandon John's ball's too far. And we'll see our first substitution in the game. Dave Irving ready to make a change here on his side. And it is going to be Pellegrino, no surprise. And he'll be replaced by Taylor Morgan. 63rd minute.
It's the magic time. You give your team a little breather. You bring on a fresh set of legs, especially in the position. Unless there's an adjustment internally, you bring Morgan on, and he will be a good runner on that flank that can help perhaps with Olex Anderson. Although it looks like he may be going straight up front, and Kaleem may be sitting then in that channel. But either way, a fresh set of legs might be just the thing Tulsa need to stem what is a bit of a tide of pressure right now from Sounders too.
Now Morgan listed as a forward. Goes right into the middle. Ochoa looks like he's on the right for the moment. Kaleem goes underneath, as you said. Getting the unique features here at Starfire Stadium. So intimate, but fans get to really have their personal say on what happens out on the field sometimes. It's only Chapalo Street where the throw-in should be taken. S2 responding. So we see Mark Ojong's night coming to an end here. His replacement is going to be Zach Mathers, who's been out for a couple of games with an injury. Mathers will come on. Myron Samuel also making way. And it's going to be Darwin Jones.
It's a high-powered attack now for Sounders 2. S2 have Jones, Olex Anderson, and Mansoray, 3 up front. Zach Mathers, his return and dropping it immediately into that attacking midfield position, a spot he played very well until his injury. He was really starting to find his feet in his first pro season.
We saw Mathers start where Ojong was, that holding position, and then he finally switched. And as he said, Wade made a real impression on Ezra. Has been there ever since. Here's McLeod with space. Kaleem with a shot, bouncing around. That almost looked like that had gone in. Did take a deflection. It's going to be a corner kick for Tulsa. For a moment, I thought that was in.
Good pressure from Tulsa Roughnecks. And that ball sits up for Kaleem reasonably nice, and the deflection really could have gone anywhere. Tyler Miller desperate, stretching to try and get a piece of that. Sometimes you make a couple substitutions, it can affect the chemistry. S2 have to make sure that's not the case.
Kaleem with the corner, headed away by Mathers. Mansoray helps it on to Darwin Jones. Looking for Olex Anderson. That's going to be a foul.
Good look on the free kick from Jordan Schweitzer, finding Dylan Remick in some space.
Darwin Jones, first few touches for him, cuts inside. Knocked out as 4 Tulsa defenders were around him. Kaleem again. Ochoa, stripped by Schweitzer. Alfaro on it. Dylan Remick. Good ball from Remick around the corner. Here's Darwin Jones, puts it across the box, cleared out by Peters. And it's going to be a corner kick for S2.
I'm not sure if this is a clear tactical adjustment, but the 3 forwards for Sounders 2, Jones, Mansoray, and Anderson, are playing very narrow, which is squeezing in the outside backs for Tulsa.
Excuse me, I said it was a corner kick. Turned out it was a throw. Mathers took it. Schweitzer to Nelson. Mansoray, Jones, and Anderson up there with Zach Mathers. Taking off the typically deep-sitting Marco Jean.
The problem S2 will have, if you're going to play 3 forwards narrow, is you'll then have 4 defenders narrow, and it just makes it a little more congested in that box, and then service gets to be more of a challenge. There's just not enough room to pick out your final pass. You almost have to, at that point, look to get balls to feet. You're trying to draw contact. 23 minutes plus stoppage remaining in the game. But the breakthrough needs to come soon, or Tulsa will again. They've got plenty of subs left, although they may be fatigued. They've got reinforcements warming up on the side, and you don't want to allow them to then control the clock through repeated substitutions.
I think Ezra Hendrickson's asking his outside backs to get forward more. Maybe provide less of the crossing service that we see continually cut out, but maybe the pass to the top of the box, something like that.
Yeah, they're gonna, if they're gonna play narrow centrally, they're gonna need to have width from somewhere, and if that's the outside backs, you do have Schweitzer and Dellum, who are more than capable 6s, true holding midfielders, so they could slide out and provide counterattack cover.
Long ball from Miller. Mansoray, call for a foul on Kaleem, just over his back there.
Victor frustrated when he couldn't get that ball settled with his first touch. A little aggressive, and Kaleem smart enough to draw the foul there, used his body.
69th minute here, Starfire Stadium. Sounders 2-1, Tulsa Roughnecks 2. S2 looking to get the equalizer here. Tulsa hanging on. Haven't had much of the possession, just like the first half. They certainly have the lead. Seem capable of striking again. Here's Olex Anderson on the right. Peters tracking down. Peters sliding, catches Anderson. And no question, a yellow card there. Is there a possibility of being the last man?
I think the angle Anderson's taking, there's no, he's not bearing directly at goal. He's kind of going toward the corner flag more. That's a very cynical foul, certainly worth a booking, and he acknowledges it immediately. There's a number of defenders now carrying yellows. I think it's absolutely essential that Olex Anderson don't worry about defending for the next 20 minutes. Don't drop back, don't help out, because you're going to have situations on counterattacks where we just have to put the ball in a gap. If Sounders do find a gap, he's going to get there first. And right now, they're desperate defending stages for Tulsa.
Darwin Jones in for Samuel is now taking the free kicks. Everybody for S2 in the box. Remick, Schweitzer, Jordy Dellum just sitting behind.
I'd like to see a back post curler here. I think Fiener's standing a little close to his front post.
Sounders 2, searching for the equalizer. Here's the ball from Jones. Can't get it past the first man. Goes to Schweitzer. Back to Jordy Dellum. He puts it back into the middle. Flicked on by Mansoray. Can they get there? It is Jones with the shot. It was always going to be a very tough angle. Could he put it back across the goal for Anderson?
That's when you're a striker and you're in the box, you're going to want to have a go. It's the hardest thing probably for a goal scorer at a young age. As you're coming through the youth ranks into college, you see that chance and you think you can finish it. I think right there, a little discretion being the better part of valor. If he squares that, it may be a tap in. But the ball was running away from him, was, as you said, going to be a challenge to keep it on frame in the first place.
Alfaro to Jones. Can't quite keep it in. It's knocked away this time. It's Abidor again. Dylan Remick will take the throw. Dellum gets to there. Picks up a knock, though, from this time it looks like it's McLeod, and he now has a yellow card. That is card number 5, this time coming in the 72nd minute for Tulsa Roughnecks.
No arguments. He acknowledges he's late, hangs a foot out. Not one that I don't like sendings off. I certainly don't like it when players raise the hand to indicate a referee should give somebody a booking. But 5 yellows they're carrying at the moment. That will be part of the story, I suspect, come the end of the match.
Here's Morgan, but ball had gone out of bounds already. Throwing for S2. Certainly Tulsa, we still have 18 minutes plus stoppage time left. As the game heats up, as we get closer towards the end, it may become a problem. Olex Anderson now. Nicely marshaled by Sonorazzo. It's going to be a corner kick again here for S2.
Dylan Remick, that left-footed in-swinging service is what Sounders 2 are looking for. Jogs over to set the ball. Some big defenders on this Tulsa Roughnecks team. It's going to take something special to unlock it.
Here's Remick now. Looks like he's going for the far post. The only man there is Feener.
Got the signals crossed as all S2 targets were moving into that front post space.
Alfaro wins it over Morgan. Alex Anderson staying high up. As you mentioned, Wade, Zach Mathers. He's going to be called for a foul on Sonorazzo, excuse me.
It's a ball there to be won. Probably got whistled more for Sonorazzo turning his back and to Mathers, and then Mathers, it was no longer shoulder to shoulder.
Morgan flicks it on. It's headed away, though, again by Alfaro. Here's Ochoa. Good tackle from Nelson's going to be thrown for S2. Become a fan of the USL on Facebook for exclusive news and interactive content. And follow at USL on Twitter to keep up with all of the live action during the 2016 USL season. Sounders 2 trailing Tulsa Roughnecks 2-1 here as we see ball from Schweitzer has Darwin Jones. It's got space to go. Jones. It's a good tackle, though, by Matt Watley. Needed to make that tackle, otherwise Jones was in.
Jones gets this ball on his right foot. Doesn't really give enough to Watley, enough disguise to indicate he was ever going to do anything but continue to run straight.
Remick, Mathers, clever ball for Remick, cuts it back. Jones misses. That's cleared away by Tulsa. Throwing Alfaro. Great, clever pass there by Zach Mathers.
No-look spin. Good instincts from Remick to run that down as well.
Ball one again. Here's Watley. Sonorazzo on the left. He'll go long with it, looking for Morgan. Nelson wins the header. Morgan upends Nelson. It's going to be a foul on him. Free kick again for S2. Sounders 2 finding themselves in need of a goal. 76th minute here at Starfire Stadium. Tulsa Roughnecks looking to hang on to the lead they've got. I saw a late rally from Whitecaps 2 a couple days ago to lose that game 3-2. Here's Michael Nelson. Knocks it off of McLeod. Throw in for Sounders 2.
Much better from Sounders 2, quickly changing the point of attack. The outside back getting into the channel. Couldn't pick the pass out. But Sounders 2, more of that. It's going to open up this back four.
Olex Anderson. His cross clears everyone. Goes out of bounds. Get out of jail free card there for Tulsa.
I think there can be a popular misconception that crosses are always a good thing. It's possession of the ball that's going to score your goals. You can whip a million crosses in. If a defense is organized and the runs aren't there, it's not going to be that critical. But that little combination between Mathers and Remick 2 minutes earlier down in the corner, cut back to Darwin Jones, that's what's going to get you a goal.
Here's Darwin Jones quickly on the throw. Gets a piece of it, but again, goes out of bounds. And that certainly has been the theme for a couple of games for Sounders too. They get down, get behind, and perhaps maybe their crosses haven't had as much thought or as much possibility as they think they do.
It's tempting. You get the ball into the final third, and you're in a wide area. You're taught from a young age, typically, service, service, service. But if the service isn't good or the runs aren't there, then it's just a lofted ball. Picking your target out, finding someone who can then convert those crosses as well. That's why forwards get so much money, Aaron. Those that score do.
Timing of the run so important. You've heard Ezra Hendrickson talk about that. Players needed to continue to work on the timing of their runs. We see a ball lost there from Sonorazzo. Olex Anderson's got it. Looking for Mansoray, but Watley comes through and picks it off. Ian Peters have been organized. Long ball was never going to get there to Morgan. Miller's got it. Quickly lets it go to Alfaro. Schweitzer again has to get around Street to get to that. Knocks it long. Jones. Good touch from him. Remick coming through. Nice ball from Darwin Jones. Dylan Remick cuts it back across. Mansoray still on it. Sets up Mathers. Mathers strikes it. Is that going to go out of bounds? I think Nelson's going to save it. He does. Chance here for S2. Nelson whips it back in. Far post, skips everyone. Now Darwin Jones from maybe the left side. Jones whips it in. Headed away by Tulsa, the top of the box. Jordy Dellum on it. Still not cleared. Remick, Mathers. Sounders 2 just looking for a goal. Ball from Mathers, and it goes just beyond the goal line. Goal kick, and Tulsa survive again.
It was all action in the box, cross after cross. I really like Mathers. We saw his early little no-look pass there. They picked out the right option, and to be honest, Nelson made a nice run as well. Just didn't quite get the weight of the pass correct, but there's enough numbers in that Tulsa box for Sounders 2 to turn this pressure into the equalizer. But yet still, it's elusive.
And good defending in there from Tulsa's back four, including the midfield with Belobi, Henry, Remick. Certainly been more active here in the second half. Alfaro picks out Michael Nelson. Olex. Mansoray trying to carve apart Tulsa defense. So far, so good. Olex Anderson. But he's got a tackle as he has the shot. Deflection. You're going to say a corner kick here for S2. And we'll have another substitution here as well. Let's see if we get that before the corner. Street's motioning for him to come on.
Looks like they want to hold it until after.
Darwin Jones standing over it. Street says, play on. Darwin Jones whips the ball in. Not a bad one. Lots of pace on it, but straight to Feener. There's no one there.
It's one of the better corners we've seen. There have been a number of them this evening. Normally you position somebody or force their run right into that area. Jones finds the space, but no runner matches it.
Remick wins the header. Michael Nelson. Good ball from him to Zach Mathers. Keeps it going, but Olex Anderson hasn't made his run.
Just doesn't anticipate that Mathers is going to give that ball. Mathers has been very good since his insertion. And it's the the more those two would play together, I think you start to see where those balls will be played and where you should make your run.
Now here's McLeod. Ball strikes his hand, but it's play on. Now it's a foul call as Morgan angrily knocks the ball into the stands. And he's going to pick up a yellow card. Yellow card for the substitute. Taylor Morgan.
Can have no complaints. The handball was not incidental. And then when you fire a shot straight into the stands, endanger the safety of the spectators, you're probably going to be in the book.
We got some substitutions here. Coming off is McLeod. One of the players from Tulsa has picked up a yellow card, and coming on for him is the Seattle U grad, Brady Ballou. And on the S2 side, Mansour's just gone off. Carlos Bettino, crafty player, holdover from last year's S2 team, inaugural side from Edmonton, Alberta. Schweitzer ball looking to pick out Jones.
Patino and Mathers will be an interesting pair if they can work themselves centrally and get on the ball. The crowd here at Starfire not happy that Fiener's choosing the far side of the box to take the goal kick, but Fiener is entitled to choose his side.
Mathers goes down after that ball from Fiener. Also on that far side, Wade, was David Abidor was laying down over in the corner. It's tough to see him, but he's gotten up now. He's limping for a moment. See Patino go down. Brady Ballou.
We also had a Tulsa Roughnecks substitution. Leading the cage was number 22, Kyle McLeod. Entrance number 24, Brady Ballou.
Ballou. Excuse me, I said Ballou. It's Ballou. Nelson picks out Jones. Here's Remick. Dylan Remick cuts it inside, gets it on that left foot. Now Darwin Jones has two in front of him. Darwin Jones can't keep it in. Going to be a goal kick. Jones just had a couple of those that have gotten away from him there.
That's disappointing. He's faced up against, a right back that doesn't look his match for quickness, and chooses the option to go towards the end line, and just the heavy touch. I'd rather see him cut that back, curl a little ball in with his right foot. Either way, he's got to stay on the field.
Darwin Jones wins the header there. Tulsa pushing all the way up. All easy picked out by Fiener there as he nodded back to him. Darwin Jones hasn't featured a lot this year for S2 so far. And lacking a little bit of game time as Fiener again, not the greatest punt from the keeper. The wind has picked up again, so maybe he's fighting that a little bit.
It's hard to tell. The flags off in the outside the stadium here at Starfire are whipping a little bit in the wind, but again, that's not the story this evening. Sounders 2, second half's been long spells of pretty good pressure and presence in the box. Tulsa Roughnecks have just done enough thus far to keep them off the board.
S2 searching for the equalizer here, 85th minute. Starfire Stadium here in Tukwila, Washington. Sounders 2 trail as the ball from Mathers finds Remick, just cut out though for a moment. Darwin Jones turns and fires. Referee Street says it's a deflection. It's going to be a corner kick for S2.
Excellent work, Dylan Remick. Alex Anderson lays the ball in. Again, Mathers pulling strings. He finds Remick, and Remick provides a good first touch. It's that moment of quality in and around the box that will open a defense up. Good timing of the run from Remick. And a nice little half turn from Darwin Jones, forcing some desperate blocking from Tulsa as the man is down getting treatment. Is that Abidor on the ground?
I think it's Anthony Peters, it looks like to me.
Well, that's going to be, he's going to have to leave the field, and he is the tallest man on the pitch at the moment.
Good point.
Certainly very good in the air, but when he has to get treatment, he is going to have to go off to the side. I don't believe he's allowed to stand on the goal line.
He's been a force today, Anthony Peters, clearing away anything in the air.
Yeah, they're going to make him stand on the touch line, and
crowd doesn't like it as he cuts across the field. Darwin Jones whips it in. It's only can't beat that first man. Headed away.
now Peters makes his way back into the middle of the box.
Jones second this time, curling towards the far post. Feener grabs it. Again, S2 unable to take advantage. It was their fourth corner of the second half. 87th minute here. S2 still trailing Tulsa. Tulsa have just been able to fight their way through this game so far. Second game of their 2-game road trip up to the Pacific Northwest. Seen Abidor win that header. He was struggling with a cramp earlier. Seems to be okay now. Remick. S2 had all the possession this half, it seems. A foul is called on Dellum. So Henri goes down, number 7. All USL matches are available live, free and in HD on YouTube. Follow the action on the USL YouTube channel. Each and every game. All season long. Wonderful opportunity to see games from around the country.
I visit the site frequently.
It's
very good. You can watch full matches, streaming.
Very, very helpful. Jones. Remick goes long, looking for Anderson. Peters is there. He'll clear it away. Better one by Schweitzer. Here's Dylan Remick. Good skill from him. Schweitzer picks it up, goes long, and the referee, Apollo Street, says no advantage. Free kick. Tony Alfaro over it.
Sounders 2 now adopting a very direct approach. Time is starting to tick away.
Alfaro. Long direct ball headed away there by Sonorazzo. Here's Morgan. Showed his pace earlier. Still going Morgan. Still got it. Good run from him from the substitute on the left-hand side, but it's picked out by Dellum. Loses control though. Now it's Balu on it. Seattle U product. Holding it up in the corner, and he's won a throw-in for Tulsa. They're going to be no hurry to take this. A few shouts from the crowd.
The tactic of taking the ball to the corner, it's intelligent. It's frustrating when you're on the wrong end of that equation, but it's important that Sounders 2 don't fall into the trap of fouling when players get into that spot.
Ball from Henri goes straight to Miller. He'll throw it out quickly, looking for Anderson, and finds him. Tulsa racing back. Maybe clipping at Anderson's heels. Definitely a foul, as you can see. Belobi. Tulsa will have no problem with that, slowing him up. Everybody gets behind the ball.
That's disappointing. There have been some bookings I don't think deserved it right there. He clips him and then kicks the ball away. That's a no-brainer.
I'd have to agree as Schweitzer swings it in. Kaleem, does that strike his hand? Crowd thinks so. Apollo Street standing right there says no. Interesting turn of events there. It seemed as it dropped right onto his hand as he was clearing the ball away.
It's a clear handling. He leaps in the air. Yeah, there's absolutely no doubt. That's a penalty. It's frustrating.
5 minutes of stoppage time's just been announced as we struck the 90th minute here at Starfire Stadium. A little bit of controversy as S2 do not get the call there.
Just a little baffling as to how that isn't deemed handling. It's not as if it wasn't evident even from the opposite side of the field.
It looked like the referee, Chapala Street, had a good look at it as well, as Tony Alfaro is held up by Morgan. It's going to be a, nope, says it's a foul on Morgan. Himself has a yellow card. Switched out here to Brandon John. He's got space. Tulsa drops back completely, the exception of Ochoa Morgan. Long ball from John, high in the air. Offsides call on Darwin Jones.
It's probably not what the tactical plan should be. Loft the ball for Darwin Jones to compete with the goalkeeper. 5 minutes of stoppage time.
This is certainly something you think S2 needs to get the ball to Zach Mather's feet.
Yeah, I've always been one that's thought just because there's a couple of minutes left doesn't mean that you should abandon your attacking principles. I would, look to Spain or Barcelona. They play a certain way, whether it's the first minute or the 90th minute, whatever the score is. And that's going to produce the best chances for you to score if that's the thing you train and that's the thing you practice and do. But I do understand the temptation.
Jones reaching for that ball from Miller. Able to keep it. Plenty of people in the box. Very tough to find something. It's very narrow as well. Schweitzer turns out of everything. Finds Alfaro, who's under a ton of pressure from Morgan. Long ball, and Fina will collect that, no problem. Time ticking away. 5 minutes of stoppage time, probably 1.5 gone. Halim sends it on. 2 gone. 93rd minute now. Halim on the ground. Street says he's got the time on his watch. Alfaro not happy to see this. We have a little bit of pushing and shoving. His tempers.
It is possible Kaleem could be cramping. He's covered a lot of ground. He's been an effective player for Tulsa Roughnecks.
It's always tough as an opposing team to have sympathy, though, for a player who's on the ground making a lot of emotions.
It's just so often not the case. Definitely the boy who cried wolf. Tale comes to mind, and whether or not he is hurt, he's chosen from Saunders' 2 perspective exactly the wrong moment to get a cramp. The minutes will be added, but the rhythm is disrupted, and that when this is done for tactical reasons, I don't want to suggest that it is, but when it's done for tactical reasons, that's the effect. Whether or not the referee adds time is irrelevant, because now everything is stopped. Tulsa can be reorganized, they catch their breath.
Williams helped off there by Olex Anderson, and certainly the theory is you never seem to get all that time back anyways.
Yeah. And I tell you what, if you're truly cramping that badly, there's no way you can come back on the field. So if he's asking to come back on, this is capital F fake.
Completely understandable. We'll see what kind of shape he's in when he does come onto the field. Miller goes long. Chapala Street's not motioning for him back on as Fiener able to come up with that one again. Gleam's still down here in front of us, looking to come back onto the field. Tulsa head coach Dave Irving looking to perhaps make another change. Fiener knocks that ball out of bounds. Quick play. The ball boy actually whips it to Remick's feet. Here's Olex Anderson on the ball. Anderson tripped up by Abidor. Free kick for S2. Kaleem is now back onto the field. Got to give credit to the ball boy there. Just whips it right to Remick's hands. Long, quick throw taken. S2 now have a free kick just outside the 18.
It's good to have a smart ball manager, ball boy. When they understand the implications of a quick return.
Hats off to him. Darwin Jones standing over the ball, 2 on a wall. Everybody else from S2 around the goal box. Tyler Miller at half field. Here's Jones bending it in. Headed up in the air. It's a huge scrum now. Fiener. Ball's knocked over the top of the goal. See Brandon John on the ground. goal kick for Tulsa. We've hit 95 minutes. Now into the 96th. See how much longer Apollo Street has on his watch. Sounders 2 searching for that equalizer. Ball from Feeners headed by Patino. Going down. Peters has it. He will put this one to the Green River. Is short. Quick throw. Zach Mathers on it. Motioning everybody to get in the box. Mathers, long throw. Headed away by Peters. Schweitzer clips it up in the air. Fowler wins the header. Schweitzer again. Below, he puts him under pressure. Now broken away is Ballou. Brady Ballou on the left-hand side. He skips away from Schweitzer, who fouls him. Free kick for Tulsa, and that's exactly what Ballou was looking for.
He's drawn a foul now, and Tulsa won't have to take this for another 20, 30 seconds. As Ballou catches his breath, and Schweitzer draws a booking for his troubles. And that probably will be it, barring a miraculous turnaround.
We're going to see Ballou still on the ground. Schweitzer wanted to win the ball back as quickly as possible. Probably didn't want to see Ballou take it all the way into the corner and hold it up.
Yeah, right there, you'd probably want Schweitzer to overrun that to get into a position where he forces Ballou to cut the ball back rather than continue up the line.
There's Ochoa fighting for it. Referee says the ball went off of him. Long throw, quickly taken. Farrell fighting for it. This time it's going to be a foul on him. On Morgan. Apollo Street checks his watch. Free kick here for Tulsa. Now we have conversation between head coach Dave Irving and Apollo Street.
Sammy Ochoa has made his way up the field. I think right there Nelson can move forward. He would be offside if the ball were played to him.
Ochoa running in behind. Kaleem's ball just short. Ochoa wins it though. Players all over him. Schweitzer goes long. Deflected. Goal kick. But there's the whistle from Street. And that is the end here at Starfire Stadium. The Seattle Sounders 2-1. Tulsa Roughnecks 2. Sounders 2 coming up just short tonight. Wade, it was a tough, hard-fought battle. Perhaps a little bit of disappointment there on the S2 side.
I think they'd have to feel that way. Tulsa created very little over the course of 90 minutes. The goals came from individual breakdowns, sort of lapses in concentration. But having said that, the opportunities to score in the second half came. There were a lot of half chances. There were a lot of serves that were just missed, and you felt, oh, if they only got a touch here or there. It's a tough result for Sounders 2, because this was a team in the table that you wanted to put a little distance and start climbing. It's a long season, but Ezra and Junior have to be pleased. 90 minutes of fight. You know, the team never gave up. Their discipline held throughout. The mistakes they made, they can fix. But what they have to start doing is finding a way to get more than one goal in a match.
And Tulsa Roughnecks finally break their winless streak, getting a win here at Starfire Stadium. The final score, 2 goals from Sammy Ochoa. Tulsa Roughnecks 2, Seattle Sounders 2-1. From all of us here, Bootstrapper Studios. For Wade Weber, I'm Aaron Heinzen. Thank you for watching, ladies and gentlemen. Happy Mother's Day to all the mothers out there. And we'll see you in a couple of weeks' time. Sounders 2 host LA Galaxy 2 here May 22nd. Good night.
This cup